as I get chips out of my teeth. Hey, you've got this part of the video. You've got the live unedited edition, Home Gadget Geeks, Wednesday night, January 29th. I don't say that very often, Mike. And this won't be a regular thing, by the way. So some of you, we've talked about that before. I'll talk about it in the show as well. We're still Thursdays, but I have 3 podcasts to do at work tomorrow. One of them at 7, so just not going to work out. And so Mike graciously allowed me to move this to Wednesday. If you're joining us live, and there's a few of you out there, I saw Justin and Ken initially. Welcome. Good to see you. We'll get started. If you've never caught us before, this is just the pre-show. It's us goofing around until we do start the live show. You can stay for it. It's not terribly exciting, but it's exciting.
It's something to listen to.
Better than a sharp stick in your eye. And we'll get started here in just a few minutes. We'll do the traditional beer opening. Somehow Mike missed picking up beer. It was at Hy-Vee. They had Nebraska Brewing. So,
hey, do you like that? You haven't cracked it yet, have you?
I don't know. I have not cracked it yet.
I've seen that, and I've been wanting to pick it up.
Brunette nut brown ale.
It sounds good.
Yeah, it really does.
Yeah.
So let's see. Oh, they have like a temperature thing on the side there. It says 42 degrees Fahrenheit. Maybe that's like the optimal serving temperature.
So that's almost like pull it out a little bit and let it sit for maybe a minute or a few minutes.
Maybe so.
Yeah.
Maybe so. There's the barcode in the Nebraska.
That's pretty cool.
That's pretty cool. These guys at Nebraska Brewing, they're pretty good. Have you eaten over there at their place?
I have not. No. Where's it at?
It's down here.
Okay.
Yeah, it's down in Sarpy. 4.7. So not very strong, but they have this unique lid, right? That
and then the whole top comes off.
Yeah, the whole top. Yeah, a little spray. Oh, I got that on my forehead on the screen. Okay, so yeah, the whole top comes off. Let's see what that pours like.
Ooh, that looks good.
Yeah, that kind of does, doesn't it? Make sure I don't overfloat it. As my kids used to say, don't overfloat it. So there's your.
Ooh, that's perfect.
There's your nice brown ale. We'll give it a second to rest.
It looks like almost a lighter colored Guinness, almost like that head on it. It's like a lighter Guinness.
Yeah. Yeah. This is kind of their thing. Nebraska Brewing does this on all theirs. I was going to get a Hefeweizen. The can, the 1 6-pack they had left had a hole in one of the cans. So
I'm not going to leave one gone.
So their pills is really popular. It's from what I understand. And so I picked up the brown ale and some of their pills. And then and I've gotten into cans lately, Mike, because I think the beer's better in cans. And then 2,
you do?
I do.
I think you're the first person to ever say that.
Yeah, well, there's some things about light and some things about the can itself. You know, they put some coating now on the aluminum.
Yeah.
So I was talking to some beer guys the other day, and they're like, "Oh yeah, no, you got to stay canned. Don't do the bottles. You got to do cans." All right. Well, Justin's asking, "What's the pour score? What do you give me? What do you give it for the pour score?"
That pour score is an 8.2 out of 10.
Is that color that you're judging it on, or what are you judging the?
Well, I'm judging it on the amount of head, and this is just personal preference. I was a little.
So you're judging me now, right? You're judging my pouring performance.
A little bit, but
I like it. No, keep running with it.
Yeah, a little bit of both. So there's a little too much head for me.
Okay.
And then on color, looks good.
It's actually a little lighter.
Score.
It's actually a little lighter than it looks here on the camera.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah. You can actually. It's more of a lighter brown in person than it's showing on the camera. Here, we'll give it a little taste. Ooh,
good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not heavy. Kind of crisp. Not nutty like I was expecting, even though they say it's a nut brown ale. A little bit. Kind of sweet.
All right.
Yeah, that'll be a good one.
So apparently I was in the wrong. I didn't know this whole light thing affects beer. Justin says the same thing. So maybe I've been doing it wrong the whole time. I thought like glass, because you think of like Coke,
That's what I thought
right?
too.
Like a glass Coke is so much better for me, I think, than like a canned Coke. I love Coke in a bottle, but I always just assumed it was the same way with beer.
Yeah, well, in Guinness, you got to do Guinness in the can. That's just the way everybody drinking Guinness like, oh no, you got to get that out of the can. So, and it's actually easier for me to store them. I bought some 12 can containers for the fridge, and you put them on top, and it rolls down, and it's
cool.
easy,
Okay,
right? So I can put 24 cans in there, and we bought a 15 pack of Blue Moon, and of course we tried that Daybreaker, which was really good. I haven't been able to find it again, so I haven't looked hard either, but we went out the other night. Hy-Vee didn't have any of it.
Target had it.
Did they?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Good to know.
At least the Target by me had it.
Yeah, and it's brown beer bottles, right? Yeah, so the brown beer bottles are an attempt to slow down the ultraviolet going through. I think most beer sits in a box, to be honest, especially bottled. Sits in a box from the time it leaves the factory to the time it gets to the grocery store, and the only UVs it's getting in most cases is when it's sitting on the shelf waiting to be consumed. Beer is so popular right now that I don't think many beers are sitting around very long.
I don't think so either.
Whenever I go to buy them, everything's always changed around, and you're like, well, where is this stuff at? So, again, Brunette Nut Brown Ale, Nebraska Brewing, and then I'm going to try next week. I'll probably have the pills from them, super good. So far so good. This is a good kind of. This would be a sessionable. Pair it with it pair good with steak or even like a pasta. Kind of a pasta.
Yeah.
Dish. I like kind of, if you get the pasta kind of spicy, it'd be really good. A little sweet and spicy.
One combo I like is pie and beer, but I like I got wow, how am I blanking on the name of this pie?
Good.
Almonds, right?
Pecan.
Thank you. Why can I not think of that? Almonds, no. Yeah, pecan pie. So like a pecan pie with something like that. That's good.
Yeah. Lately I've been with a lighter, crisper, like the Blue Moons, probably not a good example, but maybe, chocolate has been a good,
I'm not a chocolate guy, so I'm not.
Okay. Yeah. It's just sometimes I'm craving when I'm drinking a beer, I kind of start craving chocolate. And
yeah.
Especially the darker the chocolate, the better on those. Those are super good. Justin was asking about no cigars. Actually, poker night. We had a poker night this weekend, Mike, and with the boys. And are you in that group? Did you get?
I am. I had notifications turned off, and I probably missed the entire thing.
You probably did.
Yeah,
you probably did. I thought maybe you were. You've been busy quite a bit, so I thought maybe you were out. But
I was sick this weekend again.
Okay.
Around. Yeah, so I would have been in there anyway.
That wouldn't have worked anyways. We got some Thompson's flavored cigars, and they're maybe 4.5 by 30, so pretty small. But I may have my first cigar hangover. Like I smoked a bunch of those things. They're like candy. Like you could just roll through them, and they were good. The rum ones were a little sweet. So that was good. We had a good time. They're not terribly expensive. They're Thompson's brand, and so they were pretty easy. Where'd my mouse go? They were pretty. Oh, there it goes. They were pretty easy to work through. Pretty flavored. So you're like, oh, hey, yeah, I want to do another one of these. So that was pretty good. Actually, so Two Guys Cigar, there's a Cigar Authority podcast that I've been watching, and they're a shop in Ed Sullivan, who normally listens to the show. He produces Cigar Authority podcast. So I bought their care package. So that's you get 5 cigars, $30. You get 5 cigars. They usually they're $5 to $10 cigars, so it's a pretty good deal. and you get 5 different ones to try. So I'm gonna try it for a couple months. If they start stacking up, probably I'll cancel it for a couple months and maybe get through those.
Yeah.
Then I have another order coming. They talked me into some, I want to say Toscano, but I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. They're Italian cigars, and they are the kind Clint Eastwood would smoke, and you see in the spaghetti westerns, right? No, they don't require any humidity. You can kind of leave them in your car. They take abuse, and they're still pretty good from what I understand. So I ordered a couple boxes of those Toscano, I think is the name of them. So I ordered a couple of those to try out too, with spring on its way.
Yeah.
I'm kind of hoping,
once that warmer weather hits the back patio, be calling your name.
It's going to be brutal.
Yeah.
It's going to just be brutal. I'm going to have to really control myself. I'm not good at that. Like anything worth doing is worth overdoing.
Yep. I'm the same way.
I know you are.
Yeah.
I think Hannah's blocking me from you because of that.
She's like, one more thing, I swear.
She's like, Collison, no, not this weekend. I think we need to go to.
Aren't you sick again, Michael?
I know. All right. Thanks for coming out. Starting a few minutes late just because we changed times and I wanted notifications to go out. Oh, I guess I need to hold on. Let's start the Spreaker here. They don't know what they've been missing out there. Forgot to do that. So we will get Spreaker going. If you're joining us live on Spreaker, welcome to the show. Sorry, we forgot to start you earlier. You missed all the beer and cigar. It's probably good that you missed that because most of it was visual and now we're audio only. So we're going to get started here in a moment. All right. I think we're all set. It never fails. No matter when I podcast, my kids start pinging me on Facebook. Like it just never fails.
Well, it's on Wednesday. They're used to you doing it on Thursday.
Yeah, well, no, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And it just does not matter. Oh, Tajoski or Joe said he found some of that Shiner beer.
Oh, the holiday cheer.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. He says he still has some of that holiday cheer left.
Oh,
yeah.
Gosh, that's making me want one. So good.
I know. Those are kind of peachy, nutty, kind of sweet. You're kind of wondering like, this is like a really good fruitcake kind of. I thought when I had the holiday cheer, like, fruitcake's not typically good, but that's a good one. Like,
do you not typically like Shiner?
No, I don't think I drink enough of it.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
I don't think I drink it.
I've been getting my beer variety through work because we have a keg that they rotate that we rotate out. And so I've just been, and they always do a really cool one from around here. Cool. Sometimes not from around here. So I've been kind of getting a good variety there.
Nice. Yeah. We it's on tap at the tap house.
Okay.
And we were drinking over there one time. This was before Christmas and they had Shiner on tap. And I was like, oh yeah, you can't miss Shiner on tap. So.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. Let me bring this up. I think we're all set. 32, 29th. All right. Let's do this thing. This is the Average Guy Network, and you have found Home Gadget Geeks show number 432, recorded on January 29th, 2020. Here on Home Gadget Geeks, we cover all the favorite tech gadgets that find their way into your home. News, reviews, product updates, and conversation, all for the average tech guy. I'm your host, Jim Collison, broadcasting live from the AverageGuy.tv studios here in a kind of a snowy mic. It's kind of off and on. The solar panel on my Ring stick-up cam, we're going to talk about that here towards the end of the show. We hasn't seen a lot of sun over the last couple days, right?
It's annoying like snow just enough, like maybe it'll melt, and then it kind of does, but then there's another just a little bit of layer of snow that comes down. I hate this type of snow. Either dump on me or give me nothing. I know, and enough to kind of keep the grass covered, which is good. Yeah, that's true.
And hovering in that, it's maybe 30, it's maybe 34. Is it ice? Is it snow? You don't really know. I think as winters have been warming up, the ice level, it used to get ice in Kansas City a lot. Mm-hmm. And I think they're seeing more rain and we're seeing the ice now. Cause I don't ever remember having this much ice. And this year, I think we've been iced 3 or 4 times already.
Oh yeah.
And you just kind of like, that's messy. It's kind of caused me to kind of rethink my de-icing routines. So, because when it's just snow, you to scrape it off, right? Not so fun with the ice. So I started using some thinking about de-icers, and I'm actually using the Rain-X wiper fluid, which puts kind of a film on
I didn't think about that. That's a good idea.
kind of makes the ice come off just a little bit easier, going
Yeah.
out and warming up the car a little bit earlier. Some of those kinds of,
Right.
some of the kind of getting me thinking, I should have thought about this a long time ago, but do I put a starter, remote starter with an app or
yeah.
When I buy the new car this summer, do I just have the remote starter put on from the very beginning? Have you done that with any of your vehicles? Remote starter?
Hannah's car, my car is still the same Jeep I've had since high school, so definitely nothing there. But Hannah's Traverse has it built in. Yeah, and I don't think she even uses it. And hers has it from the phone app. So she can do it. I could start her car from Kansas City if I wanted to. And I don't know if she uses it very often. She has a parking garage at work. So it's never, I mean, it's cold, but it's not like snowy or anything like that on top. So
Justin says 105 where he's at. Yikes.
Whoa.
Well, he's down. He's on the other side. He's on the other side, and he's encouraging me to get a Tesla. I don't think this time. We've had 2 Tesla owners on, right? Dwayne, by the way, thanks to Dwayne for coming on last week. Dwayne and Paul Brennan. I don't know if I have the right garage for that yet. Like, I want it. My wife, we just have a 1-car garage at the moment. And this may be what actually gets me to move, just to be honest. I have to be careful how loud I say this. Like, I don't want to encourage it, right? But I don't really have, I was looking at Paul's Tesla setup when we had him on. So he was on a couple shows ago. And my garage just is not that big, and it's 1 car, and we fight over it. Like, we kind of fight. And right now, my son's car is in it. So, I'm kind of thinking like, I'm plugging, I don't want to do it outside, blah, 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 whatever, right? So I don't know. I think this time I'm still going to stay gas, and but it, most likely is going to be a Subaru, just to be honest. It'll have the eyesight. It's going to have, which is adaptive cruise and all that other stuff that kind of comes along.
You love that Subaru you guys have.
I do.
Yeah,
I do. I do really like it. It drives great. It's fast. But I would like a remote starter. I just think I've lived in Nebraska long enough. There are days when it'd be super nice just to open the app at 5 o'clock, or as I'm coming out of the fitness center, start the vehicle, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, with winter here, you kind of start thinking about those. Of course, you should be thinking about the show notes. We'll have a few of them posted out at the Average Guy. Was that good?
That was a good transition. Yeah.
We posted out at the Average Guy.tv. You can also join us live on the mobile app. Easiest way to do it when you're on the road. Just download it, homegadgetgeeks.com if you're new to the show. Also want to thank our Patreon subscribers there who help me pay for that every single year, a couple $100 a year. And if you want to be a Patreon subscriber, love to have you do that. The AverageGuy.tv/Patreon will get you there. Join us in our Discord group, which is hot at the moment. I mean, like really good conversation going on right now in the Discord group. So the AverageGuy.tv/Discord, Mike, we'll talk a little bit about that. Some of those things a little bit later as you give us an update on your build. I think that's probably where we need to go. Maybe we'll start off with that. Okay. Then you can join us in the Facebook group, the AverageGuy.tv/Facebook is what will get you there as well. A couple reminders. We talked about moving permanently. Like tonight, we're doing this on a Wednesday. If you're listening to the recorded version, you don't care. But for the live folks who came out on Wednesday, thanks for coming out. We will not be moving permanently to Wednesdays, just when I need to, which means I need to do a better job of scheduling, a better job of letting you know, some of those kinds of things. There won't be many, maybe 4 or 5 a year, where I've got work things that come up on Thursdays, or maybe Mike does. So Mike, don't be afraid. If you got a Thursday night thing and we know far enough in advance, maybe we can move some things around to make it work. But we are still back on Thursdays. I mentioned earlier, big thanks to Dwayne for coming on last week to talk a little bit about all the stuff that he's doing. That's just a guy you kind of wind up, let him go. By the way, I heard from McCabe. So
yeah, we did on Twitter.
Yeah, Dave was like, man, I'm feeling the tire tracks on my back.
Like, hey, it wasn't us, man. It wasn't us.
That's true. I loved your response, which was the opinions of the guests.
Do not reflect those of HGG.
Yeah, super good. So, Dwayne, thanks for coming on. And Dave, thanks for being a good sport. I know he's a listener to the show here. Thanks for being a good sport on that as well. Mike, let's get to your build really quick, because we alluded to this last week, but with Dwayne on, we didn't have time to talk about it. You completely, you started with a Franken build, and you've been kind of documenting this on Discord. So if you want to follow along, join us in our Discord group. But what are you done? Like, I mean, is it okay?
I'm done. Well, for now,
of course, you'll have it sold by next Thursday.
Yeah.
Give us a quick rundown. What's the build?
Well, so, we started with the Dell Optiplex as kind of like gutting that, right? And you guys can actually see, if you're watching on the video, that motherboard now is hanging as a memento on my pegboard behind me. So nice. That's the old Dell motherboard. Nice. It worked okay, but you guys saw the Franken build. It's just, there's so many proprietary parts in there. Even the fan ports on a Dell Optiplex boards are not standard fan ports. So it worked for a while, but it got to a point where it's kind of driving me nuts in the case that it just looked bad. So the new build is a lot of the same parts. So the same processor came out of that. Was actually, no, that's not true. The main reason to switch motherboards, I totally forgot about this. The main reason was that I got the i7-3770, and that Dell came with an i5-2400. Well, what I realized was that motherboard can't run 3rd gen Intel. So same socket, an 1155 socket, but cannot run the 3rd gen. And that was really disappointing. And that CPU was not going to work for what I wanted to do. The whole part of that build was that I was going to upgrade it. So we upgraded the motherboard to an Intel D67BL, I believe, DH67BL. Updated that. That motherboard's actually a really cool motherboard. 1155 socket, a lot of PCI Express. I think you got 2 of the 6 gigabit per second SATA ports, and then 3 other SATA ports that you can use. A great little board that I was able to get on eBay used for $50. So not bad there for that motherboard. The hard part about using old hardware, I found this, is you can get new hardware for sometimes the same price, because a lot of people are going back saying, hey, I want to use this processor, but that requires me to use an 1155 board. And those now the price comes up because they're a little bit more in demand. Same with RAM. I was shocked that I was paying pretty much the same as new DDR4 RAM for old DDR3 RAM, just because same thing. People have older boards and they need that RAM that works with it. So the current is that board, an i7-3770. We got 16 gigs of RAM, which I'm glad I went with. So 16 gig.
DDR4?
DDR3. It only supports DDR3 and a GeForce GTX 1060 as the graphics card there. The thing I was most impressed with this build was actually the case. So this case is only $49. And now granted, I have not built in like $100 case, $150 case, $200 case. And now they have cases that are up like $1,000. I was watching Think Computers podcast the other week, and they have some really nice cases out there.
They're on live right now. We're talking over
the same time. But,
sorry,
so this
Ryan.
is the Fractal Design Focus G case. If you guys are looking for a budget case, this thing is awesome. It's got the glass on the side if you like that. It's got cord cable management along the back, so both sides come off, and the back is where you can kind of run some wires and then cover it up so they're not shown. It comes with 2 front fans, 220 millimeter fans with it for that $50. Fans aren't bad. They have white LGB, so I chose the white case. So obviously there's no RGB control, but the fans are lit up white with the white case. I think it looks really, really good. So all of that in the case works well. And then for the cooler, I grabbed a very cheap cooler on Amazon, but I got it because it had a ton of amazing reviews. I think I talked about it last week. It's the Deep Cool Gamex 400, and I think it's like a $25 cooler. It's super tall. You have to be careful. If you have anything smaller than a mid tower, it's going to be too tall. Even though the measurements, you might measure it and think it's okay, their measurements don't include the tiny little nubs of the heat pipes on top, is what I noticed. So it fits it. They're almost touching the glass on this mid tower Focus G case. So just be careful there. But it's a fun build. So I finally got it all up and running. Little woe is if you're having trouble, like really, really random issues with your computer, check the CMOS battery, especially if you bought a used motherboard. This thing, I mean, it was like randomly, I would unscrew the side panel to adjust something real quick, but just as I unscrewed it, the machine would push power off. And I think it was bumping it just enough. I think that battery was old, probably had, I don't know, wear marks, whatever. It was just having a bunch of weird issues. Replace the CMOS battery, and it has been flawless ever since. And, I think this thing is going to get me through. So I've been gaming on it. I've been streaming on it. And streaming has really changed because the way that they start to do the encoding, the GPUs, everything back from a 10 series, I think 10 series is the limit. 10 series and newer has what's called an NVENC chip in it. So it's a special chip in the card that's not used for anything except for the encoding. So I can use that for encoding my video. So like when I run OBS, it's using that, not using any CPU, and it doesn't affect your game performance either. So it's not utilizing a part of the GPU that would be used for gaming. It's only a special little part. So a 1060 now and a 3rd gen Intel, you can game and stream on the same computer, which before, when you were having to do H.264 encoding and using your CPU, that just wasn't possible because you would end up using all your CPU to stream. You had nothing left for the game to use. So I think this build will last me for a while. I'm used to using old hardware, but now, honestly, Jim, I wonder if I need to sell this iMac because now it's just sitting there doing nothing.
Yes.
I know. So this is what it kind of led into is my question for the community is, so now Windows is my daily driver. So this is not just a gaming PC. This is the PC that this is the computer I use when I'm down at this desk now. It used to be the iMac. I keep pointing because my Windows machine sits over here so I can see it. It's nice and fancy. My iMac is right to my left. But it's taking up a slot where I could bring one of my monitors that's up here. I could bring it down the desk because I do use Synergy, which if you're looking for a good app, it's like Mouse Without Borders, but if you have a cross-platform system. So I had Mac and Windows. If you have a Mac Windows setup, Synergy is a good app. It lets you have the same thing as Mouse Without Borders on both. So I can still utilize it if I need to, but there's a lot of extra power that's being run for no reason, and that could just be a monitor sitting right there. So I don't know. I think I'm going to keep it for now, keep it sitting here. Obviously, I change my mind every 10 seconds. And to be fair, this old iMac, probably not worth too much. I might get $300-$400 out of it. And at that point, it's probably good just to keep it. It'll be a great machine for the boys to kind of play around on when they need something. And if they mess it up, I'm not really too worried about it. So I'll probably keep it around. But the thought did cross my mind is, hey, do I just sell this iMac and maybe get a better graphics card or something? I don't know. Always be trading up and trading in. So the new build is fun. So the question for the community is, now that Windows 10 is my daily driver, what are some add-ons? What are some tools, productivity tools that I need to get for Windows? The things I haven't looked into. So things I used for the Mac are like Text Expander is an app for the Mac that I lived by. And Text Expander, what it was essentially you go in and you can do keyboard shortcuts for automated text. So I had email responses for like my Uyghur tech stuff when I was doing tech, helping people out with tech. I had like a base email that I just, had a keyboard shortcut for, and it would just put that text right in, all format. I had one for insert the date. So all of that Text Expander was really nice to be able to use. So things like that, productivity tools that you guys like, oh, you almost forget you have them installed because they just become such a daily part of your everyday use. So if you guys have any suggestions like that, hit me up on Twitter, or actually even better, I have pretty much, now that especially I sit in front of this machine a lot because of the gaming, Discord has been the best way to reach me. But Twitter, Discord, hit me up in either of those places if you have those type of suggestions for things that the must-haves for Windows. This is the first time I have really used Windows in a non-lockdown capacity. I've used Windows at work my entire career, but it's always been on work computers that I can't change anything on. And at home, I've been on a Mac, except for the only Windows boxes have sat in my server rack serving a very unique purpose, like SiteHound or something like that, are running as a server. So anyways, it's new to me to be able to have an open Windows machine that is to do with what I will. And if you guys have, so Jim, is there anything that you're using now?
Yeah, a couple things. Well, one, before I forget, take your build parts and put them in the show notes so that I can move them over. Since we're on Wednesday instead of Thursday, I got a little bit extra time. So if sometime in the next day or two you throw those in the show notes, that'd be super helpful. So a couple things, and I don't think they're necessarily just for podcasting, but kind of think about, and you're already running like Steam, right? So you've got kind of that, you got that one on. Some utilities that I use, FileZilla, right? That to move to transfer files. I have to do it for the podcasting,
but like FTP stuff.
The FTP, right? Yep. So that's been a really good, and they update it really, really often. Of course, now that you're on Windows, you can use Audacity, the Windows version of Audacity, which I use from time to time, free editing if you're going to do any audio editing on that one. I like Handbrake on Windows. So if I'm converting, in this case, if I'm converting video files, Handbrake works out really, really well for that. I run SiteHound on Windows. And so that works out. That application works out really well for me. I think the newest and you don't have to really install this, but the newest kind of Windows snipping tool, the ability to go in and do screen snipping, or it'll do the whole thing or parts of it, or right. They got some really cool. So in Windows 10, there's an upgraded version of Snip and Sketch or something. I forget the name of it. But that now in Windows 10 is available for you. And then
snipping tool.
The snipping. Well, the snipping tool is the old one.
Oh, it's a new one. Okay.
The new one. Yeah. It's called Snip and Sketch.
Okay.
That's the new one on Windows 10. So that is a really, now I'm an old snipping tool guy. So I keep going back to it because I can, open it, boom, boom, bang, grab it, bam, save it. It's done. Right. So you can still run the snipping tool, but the new one, Snip and Sketch, is available on Windows 10. So that's pretty cool.
Opened it. I'm going to put it up on this monitor so I don't forget. I'm going to look at all this stuff as I go through, because that's true. The hard part for me has been learning the new keyboard shortcuts. I keep going back to my Mac stuff and screenshots. I'm like, I have no idea how to. Okay, so real quick, what are you guys using on a Mac? It's so easy for a quick and dirty. I'm talking nothing crazy here. Quick and dirty video editing. I was using iMovie for some of that stuff. I have the Premiere, not Premiere from Adobe. I have Final Cut on the Mac side for my heavy duty stuff. But there's a lot of times where I'm just combining a few clips, throw some music over, call it good. What are you guys using there?
Well, we'll wait for the chat room. I am still a Windows Movie Maker guy.
That's still available?
No, you have to track it down. Like,
get it.
Not.
There's a guy in an alley that's handing out CDs.
It's not that bad yet, but Microsoft isn't supporting it off of their website, but CNET is, and so you can go to CNET and get the executable still, and it still works awesome. Like, just for what you're talking about, easy, a few edits. I mean, it's what I edit this show on every single. I wouldn't do heavy stuff on it, but if you're
that's what I'm talking about,
trying to make a TikTok or a Instagram or what, just you're trying to snip a few things together, Windows Movie Maker actually works out just fine. One of the things, Mike, I'd consider too, I have 4 licenses for this now, is stable bit drive pool. Okay. And so if that box has any, if it's got 2 or more drives, it might be handy to have a copy of stable bit drive pool on it. I like it because you can kind of combine the drives into pooled drives. You could do some things. The cool thing I like about it is it has an email alert if a drive goes bad. So if you're doing some things and you're kind of dependent on it. I also like if you're going to store data on it and it's going to be my daily driver, I might want to, like, those boards some of those boards have some RAID on them, but BIOS level RAID is not my favorite, even though I think it's the best. It's not my favorite to configure.
Right.
And so having stable bit on there.
Because I'm running it on an SSD, and then I just threw an extra 250 gig spinner in there to store like a Steam library, and because I will record while I stream, and to be able to kick that out, those end up being 17, 20 gig files at the end. To be able to just constantly have those stream to a spindle is a lot easier, but it does have an extra slot for another hard drive. So I probably will fill both those up. I'll probably grab some green terabyte drives to throw in there. So stable bit, that's a good idea. Cause I'm the same way. I do not like BIOS level RAID, anything like that.
Let's get some chat room in here. Rain meter, make MKV is another tool. I haven't used that one. Joe says that. We talked about Snip and Sketch a little
What's
bit earlier.
Make MKV for? You guys should let me know. Both Alex and Joe suggested Make MKV.
Is that audio and video? We'll look that up. Okay. I don't use it. Let's see here. Joe says Windows key plus H is the built-in dictation, if that's helpful for you. Veeam is a free backup agent. Great option. I'm on a big Acronis backup guy. If now you can, and I think they had a Mac version too. And actually Acronis, like, they are going, I don't know, they must have got some money or something, because they're mobile. I mean, they're doing upgrading all the time. They got new stuff all the time. And they just gave me the ability to back up my mobile device on the current Windows license. So and I always get the licenses for maybe $15 a year per PC. So it's pretty reasonable, maybe even a little bit cheaper. Yeah. If you wait till the end of the year, they kind of go on sale. And I was able to back up my mobile device using Acronis.
This is going to be bad to say. It's going to be blasphemy, and you're going to tell me to stop talking before we give bad advice to our listeners. But I'm almost to the point now where on this machine, right? If I have big files that I work on, I edit on, and then I have a finished project, I'll go and throw that on the NAS, right? On the Unraid box, which has its own backup and everything. With Nextcloud or with Dropbox, whatever you use, with Nextcloud and pretty much Nextcloud, I mean, everything else, and like my Steam library, maybe, it would be more work for me, I think, to reinstall from a backup than to just re-download Windows 10 and start fresh.
Right.
So I have not been backing up each individual computer because the files are backed up to a cloud service. An Unraid box stores everything when it's done. There's no final projects that are stored on these anymore. Those are all, if I'm done with it, throw it over there, because I know my Unraid box has the backup to offsite and redundancy locally. It's been working well.
Well, but don't confuse sync with backup, right? You know this. Just because you go into the cloud doesn't mean it's backed up. You know, unless you have versioning turned on.
Nextcloud has versioning, right? And if I delete a file, and Nextcloud keeps it for 90 days. That's what I have it set to. So I have 90 days to realize that's gone.
Yeah.
I mean, you're right. There are items like that where if I had an image from beyond 90 days ago and I don't catch it, I could fix it. But yeah, I'm to a point where I think it would be even just easier to throw back, plug in my Windows key. I keep my Windows key right here. You know, I have it on USB. If I need to redo it, I just throw it over there and reinstall. Okay, so John Big says he uses MKV to back up his Blu-rays. Mm-hmm. Oh, so it's almost the equivalent of like a handbrake. Sounds like it.
I think so. I've never used it.
Yeah, okay.
I haven't. I've been a handbrake guy.
Yeah.
He says I haven't done any UHD rips yet, so there's some ripping. I'm not a big. I started that process of ripping all my DVDs, and then I lost them, and then I was like, "This is dumb for me." Okay, don't get offended. Yeah. But I was just kind of like, I don't have time to. If I had a machine, I could put the DVD in or whatever, and it would just do it, and it would do all those things, and then it would spit it out, and I was done. Maybe. I don't know if I need to keep all my DVDs and especially today for the most part. Now, again, you do what you want. It's fine. If you're doing it that way, that is awesome. But after I lost about 200 DVDs I'd backed up, and then it was like, I can't ever remember the last time I even watched these, much less went to the backups for them.
Right.
Now, something happens in the living room and all the DVDs melt. I may be sad, but I may not be either. I don't know. So that's just me. That's my personal. Do you back up any of your stuff that way? Your DVDs? Do you buy DVDs?
I don't buy. If I'm buying something, I'm gonna buy it digitally.
Yeah.
I haven't bought too many DVDs. So the other pain point I've run into is I realized all of a sudden it dawned on me, like, Jim, what do you Windows users do if you have an iPhone and you want your photos? I did not realize how convenient it was having photos on the Mac and iPhoto library in the cloud. All just like I take a photo, it is instantly in my Photos app on my computer, right? So that kind of just instant sync, not having to do anything. It's a good backup too, because then I have a local copy. That's when I really started. I'm like, well, I'm glad I really started the process a long time ago of also having these auto upload to Nextcloud, because now that's my answer. I go to the web browser in here, go to Nextcloud, and my photos are all there. I'm sure that's probably the same thing. You guys use Google or Amazon or whoever you're using to back up your photos. It's probably that same way. But the iPhoto, it's not iPhoto anymore. The Photos library on Mac and iOS is that's probably the best feature that Mac has done, that Apple's done. iTunes is a dumpster fire, but Photos, I think, is actually a pretty good implementation there of Cloud Sync.
I just love it when you say dumpster fire. Why? I don't know why. It just it's
like the worst image. You just picture that. You just want it's a dumpster fire.
Just the way you say it makes it sound good. Drobo also has its own app that you can put on your phone. It will do it. At one point I was uploading to Drobo. I was uploading to Google Photos. I was uploading to OneDrive, like 3 copies of everything. And I kind of said, okay, who's really the best at photo recognition and the tools around it and those kinds of things? Definitely not Drobo. Now they got to the Drobo super simple and they were there. That was great. But Google Photos, it's just amazing. And the reminders of some of the things it gives back to you and how it puts things together and the tools that are available there. So Mike, I kind of landed, we had Amazon too for a while. and we kind of landed, and then Amazon changed some things. If I remember correctly, I think maybe they stopped doing photos or something, or you had to pay for it. I forget. And so I just said, okay, I'm going to Google, at least at this point. And
Right.
I can still download those, and I've got them locally in some other spots and such. But for me, it just kind of made sense to. Justin says too, he's kind of using Google at this point. That's just kind of where I landed.
Nextcloud doesn't alter the photos at all, right? And it's local, so I'm not using a bunch of bandwidth. It's going here,
Yep.
and it's the same photo, because I know Google, unless you pay, it's doing at least a little bit of kind of shrinking those down. It's not going to be the full image that you took on your phone once they go to Google, unless you pay. If you pay, I think they're the full quality.
Yeah, Tony says still free photos with Amazon. Use it in Google. So
I use Google too, because that's how we get it on our Google show upstairs.
Yeah, I thought something changed on the Amazon side. Maybe I didn't have the right thing. It doesn't matter. There's so many different ways now. The proliferation is the problem. Like, did I leave? Do I still have photos on OneDrive? Like, what's over on Amazon? Like, what's the, how much is on Google? Am I gonna, Google changes, they store them in a lower res format. Is that going to change? Keeping up with all the terms and services of these things, right?
No kidding. Yeah.
So,
well, man, the chat, you guys were, I'm going to have to go back. I'm glad you guys are putting this in YouTube chat, because it retains the chat. So I'm going to be able to go back and watch and get all these down afterwards. You guys are chatty. Maybe asking you guys for Windows stuff. That got you guys going.
Yeah.
They liked that. So
nice
I appreciate all the help. There's tons of stuff that I'm going to have to check out now.
Yeah, well, it's not one of the things I'm finding now about Windows is that there are fewer applications that are just better. Like Wild West days of Windows, you go into Best Buy. Remember, you could go and buy software at Walmart or Best Buy, and they'd have whole sections of software you could buy it. Those days are gone, right? There's software for the most part. Tax software, maybe. They'll carry a few titles depending on where you go. Maybe Office Max and Office Depot, which are one now here in the US. But the Windows software has really become really limited for the most part. I mean, you just don't, especially like the old Windows installer stuff where you would actually install, they're trying to push everything through the store.
Yeah.
So the x86 or whatever, those applications, there's very few of them left. I mean, compared to what we used to have, some of the old mainstays, we've mentioned a lot of those. VLC is another VLC
thing I put on.
Yeah. Video player that's out there. Mouse without borders. You mentioned that a little bit earlier. That's another one you can do. I use the heck out of a remote desktop in Windows, right? If you're going Windows to Windows, that works out pretty good. Tax software is another one of those you'll think about. Like, really easy to get Windows-based tax software if you don't do it on the web. I'll be honest, I've kind of gone completely web for my taxes.
Yeah, I'm all web too. I'm almost done with mine for this year, and it was all web based.
Yeah, it's gotten. Have
you tried this directory Opus that Tony recommends as a replacement for Windows Explorer? Interesting. I always liked those. There are some really good ones for Mac too that I liked playing around with different. In Mac, it's the Finder. So different replacements for that. And this rain meter, I pulled it up while we were talking. That looks interesting too. Kind of pretty much being able to fully customize your desktop. I thought when you first said it was actually a rain meter, like how much rain happened outside. No, this is actually really full feature. This is really cool.
Okay, keep going.
Who suggested rain meter? I forget. Anyway, whoever suggested rain meter, is it pretty, like, if I run this, what I always get worried about is going to bog down and slow down the machine a little bit. Like all that extra stuff running on the desktop. Does it do pretty well? Put that in the chat.
Yeah. Hey, speaking of that, since Tony was out there in the chat right now, big congratulations, Tony. If this is real, this is pretty amazing. 275 million views on local guides on Google, right? I mean,
for the photos he's submitting.
Yeah. So
cool.
you can sign up for local guides through the maps, right? So you can go in there, sign up, be one of the guys, submit them. And I think I've done that a couple times where I've gone someplace and it prompts me and you take a picture of it or whatever, add a review at a restaurant. It'll prompt me and say, hey, you've been to these places. Do you want to review them? And I've gone back through. Now, if you follow Tony on Twitter, which you should, maybe the most creative tech guy out there on what he posts, right? I mean, it's a really good Twitter account to follow. It's one of my favorites, shows up a lot. Tony, you are super creative. Like, I don't know how much time you spend doing this. I hope it's not as much as I think it is. Or, sometimes I'm like, does he have somebody paying him to do, or I mean, or is he paying somebody to do this for him?
Right.
Like, it's
He's
super
like the president.
good.
He's got someone else running his Twitter for him.
Yeah. No, he says it's real. He's in the chat room. He says, no, it's real. I don't know, Tony, and Tony's been on the show before. I don't know how wow, just Twitter by itself, just the creativity that you put into your Twitter account there. Just amazing. So Tony, congratulations. 275 million plus views in local guides. Got me thinking today, Mike, a little bit about, I was like, well, okay, maybe I could add, maybe I should add that to my routine a little bit more.
I would say that's exactly what I thought too, is, I go to places, especially down, like, let's say in Fall City, where the farm is, no one is submitting those photos to Google Photos. I should be especially the small towns in Nebraska are a huge area that you could just,
stop in, take a picture, whatever. I didn't realize there was 275 million plus people even using that thing.
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
Hey, that's kind of close to the population of the United States. I mean, we're at 340 million. So, you kind of think like, oh, wow, that's a pretty amazing number.
Right.
Tony says he has almost no local tech friends, so he has to live through you guys. No, okay. Oh, let's be really clear, Tony. We're living through you. Like,
it's the other way around.
All the things that you post out on Twitter, you do such a nice job of having a variety. It's funny. You find the crazy. You must be looking at everything in every place you go, looking for something odd, because you just find, in my opinion, the most interesting things I've ever seen. So if you want to go out and follow Tony, let's see, I think I just put that down, but if you want to follow him, he is at AW Raynor, AWRAYNOR. If you want to follow him on Twitter, I think it's the most interesting Twitter feed that is out there. And Tony, congrats on that. You do a nice job. I saw that and I thought, wow. But it did get me thinking, Mike, like, maybe I need to add in taking more pictures into my, for local guides, into the habits. Whenever I go someplace new, snap a photo, go in. I'm almost always goofing around on my phone when I get, like, at a restaurant. Does anybody really talk to each other in a restaurant anymore? Like, we kind of go in, everybody, we what are you going to order? Everybody's on their phones.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Oh, I don't know. Give me a second. That must drive
waiters nuts.
Staff.
No kidding.
Yeah, just kind of crazy. Have you, speaking of that, have you gotten into the trend? So I've noticed, like, Applebee's and some of these restaurants are putting those. So one, they're putting those like kiosk machines on the table where you can play games and stuff like that, but you can pay right there.
Yeah, right.
Or two, are you ordering more food on apps and just having it ready when you get there? Have you gotten into either one of those technologies?
If we're dining in, okay, I take that back. If we're dining in, no, not usually. The one exception to that is Chipotle. Chipotle, we will order ahead just because the line waiting. But if it's a restaurant, no, we usually don't. We do a lot of, ordering ahead from apps and going and grabbing it and taking it out. But no, not usually ordering ahead. Those tabletop things are good and bad for me because I have two boys and there's always usually one of them. And so we usually keep that off limits unless one of them is just really needing a distraction at the moment. But because there's only one and two boys, that's not good math. That's not good math.
Just grab them off the other table.
Yeah, right.
Just
exactly.
Find a table and just grab both of them. And
the paying, I will say, is convenient. We have gone to an Applebee's and been able to pay there and you get up and go and being
check
able to
shows. It's kind of convenient. You see the check. You can kind of
you can reorder your drink straight from there. That's nice too, and it just puts the order back in at the bar
when you're ready, and they just kind of bring it out to you.
Yeah.
We ordered Buffalo Wild Wings on Saturday, not this last Saturday, but Saturday before, after the Chiefs game. I was like, man, I'm dying for some wings. So between the Chiefs game and the 49ers game, I downloaded the app, created an account, Buffalo Wild Wings, 40 minutes. And I was like, okay, that's cool. I mean, it's a busy night. It was football playoffs here in the United States. And then I started thinking like, okay, it'll be ready at 6:30. And then I started thinking, I wonder what time it's really ready at. Has it been sitting there? Like,
Oh, that's a good point.
how do they time that? Right. So all the whole way driving over, I'm like, oh man, I don't know. Like, I don't know if apps are good for this,
Right.
like to order food in advance, especially when they give you that long of a window. Now, if it's Taco Bell, I'm pretty sure like it's going to be ready in 5 minutes and you're going to get there and wait 1 minute and it's still going to be hot. Right. But
Right.
in this case, with a 40-minute window, I was a little skeptical. So I kind of stood there and it was kind of it was a little circus inside of Buffalo Wild Wings.
Yeah, it always
So
is.
the food came out and then they're like, hey, we're having some trouble with our point of sale machine. Can you, so for like 15 or 20 minutes, they were just, they couldn't take my card. It was the craziest thing. And I don't know if that's because it came in on the app. It must have been. So the app itself must have a separate kind of point of sale experience for them that they got to bring up, charge it. It's got to go through their machines. They tried rebooting them. Eventually the guy goes, just go.
It's costing them more in time and making everyone mad than it was worth the wings in your bag.
Go.
Yeah.
So $35 worth of,
Nice. There you go.
of wings, which is like 2 wings at Buffalo.
No kidding. They are crazy overpriced.
It's so stupid, but it made me feel good about going to Buffalo Wild Wings because we've kind of waved them off as expensive as they've gotten there, and it's not the wings, it's all the other stuff around it. That's like $9 beers and $18 French fries. So so that worked out pretty well, but it kind of got me thinking, like, are we to the point now, especially for carry out, that we're good enough that you could really, and it's kind of thinking about these Amazon devices, these Google devices, are we getting there where I can start ordering not on my app, but on the digital assistant? And then it would say at some point, hey, leave now. And
Right.
would the restaurant, right, be good enough to time that? Like, Google knows how far I live from there, right? It could be an experience where it would be like, hey, the food is done, or at least they can predict when it's going to be done. If we can get it within a couple minutes, that'd be awesome, right?
Yeah.
Google knows how far and how long it's going to take and what the traffic conditions are and when I need to leave. The assistant could handle all of that, as well as tell me, hey, 5 minutes, you need to go pick up that stuff, right? I know you can have it delivered too, right? That's another way of doing it. But it got me thinking a little bit like, I wonder.
They can really bring it to a really nice, tight experience. My favorite app for doing anything ahead of time is actually the Sport Clips app. So when I go get my haircut, I log in ahead of time, check in online. It gives you the estimate. You can actually see who's working, see if your hairdresser's working, tap them. You get into the line ahead of time. I hate showing up to Sport Clips because you never know. Getting in that line, you could be waiting an hour and a half. So I at work, 10 minutes before, I'll check in, and usually I can just walk right into her and walk out, skip the whole line.
No, that's super convenient. The other thing I scheduled recently was my physical. So like, you don't think of a doctor's appointment being able to be scheduled online. So I we have our UHC, I think is what we have, or whatever. I can go into their app. I got a monitor that's kind of freaking out over here. It's kind of freaking me out. You know how you see it? It's kind of shaking. And it's like, is that my old age, or is that monitor actually? It's doing some weird things. Kind of freaking me out. So I went a couple years without a physical because I just didn't want to call. I didn't want to call in to make the appointment.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, God, there's got to be an app for this. So just recently, my doctor pinged me and he's like, all right, it's time for a physical. Get it scheduled. And I went in and I was like, oh, wait a minute, I can just schedule this online. And so I scheduled the date, 8:00 on a Thursday in February. And then Sarah's like, that's not a great day. I went back in, canceled it, and rescheduled it for a day in March. I thought, holy crap, this really takes, and gentlemen, I'm speaking to you because there's no women who listen to the show. Gentlemen, I'm talking to you. And if you are, by the way, I'm sorry. Thank you. You can keep listening. Don't leave. You're like, we have like 2 of you. Don't leave, right?
Yeah.
But gentlemen, if you're not getting your annual physical and you're not doing it because you don't want to make the appointment, but you'd make it through an app, check your healthcare provider, check your services, check some of those things. Chances are you can now schedule that thing online. Mike, I do a physical a month now. It's online. I don't have to talk to anybody. It's pretty great.
If I didn't have to talk to someone, I would be healthy,
Yeah. So Tony says he goes, oh yeah, get that colonoscopy too. See, I've been putting that off, and he's right. I just need to get in there and get that thing scheduled. I'll probably do it after my physical. They asked me so far with the colonoscopy. So last time I went in, I was like, okay, I cannot be trusted to make the call. Can you have them call me? Oh, my doctor's like, oh, heck yeah. So 3 days later, I get a phone call. Since I don't answer my phone, it went to voicemail. Do you think I've ever called them back? No, because Jim doesn't do that. So I got to get that thing done. I don't have a family history, and I feel relatively good about that. But that being said, I do need to get that done this year. So Mike, that's another thing where like an app kind of changed for me, kind of changed everything, as far as like actually getting the physical scheduled.
Right. Okay. So you've kind of led in perfectly to my story. So here's my story. I'm gonna put you in a scene, Jim. So you've gone into the restroom, right? And this is it's gonna start off great when you're in the restroom. So you're in the restroom, you're scrolling Twitter, you're doing your business, and you get done. You get to after you've realized you've been scrolling Twitter for 20 minutes, and you turn to your right, and there's no TP. You're out of toilet paper, but you're at home, and there are people in the home, but they're out of shouting distance. You can stomp on the floor, you can yell really loud. That's just embarrassing. And it's, so what do you do? It's the perfect use case for open the Amazon. I know you have your phone in your hand, even though it's gross. Open your phone, open the Amazon Alexa app and say, "Hey lady, announce, hey yo, will someone bring me some toilet paper?" All of your Amazon devices in the house will then announce that you need toilet paper, and someone will come to your rescue. I did this for the first time tonight. I'm like, I'm genius. It worked. Hannah was with the boys super far away. She was not going to hear me if I yelled. There was no way. And I'm like, I'm kind of stuck. Like I am stuck. And it was perfect. The announce feature is, it was awesome. And my kids just thought it was hilarious. They thought it was so funny.
Oh no, right on. It's a great idea. But do you have you should also develop a safe word or a code word for the family in case there's guests over. Like
that's a great idea.
You don't want to be announcing that to the guests.
Yeah.
So it would be like, you get on there. I don't know. What would you say? You don't want to say like code blue. That's pretty obvious, right? But hey, and then something, Hannah, don't you look lovely tonight?
Right. And everyone thinks it's a joke. And then she just, she's walks out.
Could you guys excuse me for a second?
Right. See, it's perfect.
Yeah. What else have you? So Sarah does that a lot of times. She'll be upstairs and she doesn't want to come all the way down here. It's hard. She could yell. Our room is kind of up over in that corner. She could yell, but she's found that drop-in feature.
Yeah. Drop-in's great. If you know where the other person is, right? Yeah. Works really well. Announce is great for if I just need to blast this out. I don't know where they are in the house, but hopefully they'll hear it.
So you just say, Lady A, announce.
And just go into your next sentence. And then whatever you say after the word announce is said in your voice. It's like recording you, and then it just does that. Just spits it out. It chimes. All your A ladies will chime. They'll go ding, and then your voice will come out of there all at the same time.
So we got a couple suggestions from the chat room on what you should say. Code Brown. Okay,
Code Brown.
Okay.
We have a Code Brown, aisle 1.
Cornholio is in the building. That'd be another way of saying it. Anybody up for cornhole? That would be, you could do it that way as well. Justin says Code Brown. So he's doing that. He said that one as well. Alex, I need some bananas. That would be great. Hannah, could you bring me some bananas?
Like, where is Mike that he needs bananas?
Yeah. Well, there's something to that. Like, what would be, you could say, Hannah, I spilled something. Can you come help me?
Yeah.
Like,
right.
That could be true. But it could be a code word. Like, hey, I spilled something back here. Can you come help me really quick?
Yep. Exactly.
And that could be, if you're thinking of inconspicuous Code Brown. Well, I like Code Brown. Pretty obvious.
Yeah.
I can't believe we got here with that. Oh, that's super.
I know. When I did it, when I thought, I'm like, this is the perfect use case for the announce feature. Yeah. It is perfect. Yeah. Like, I did not think of the guest being in the home. That thought did not cross my mind.
This is why we bring these things up here on the podcast. You gotta have that.
I'm all about, my guests are usually family members anyway. What if they're stuck in the bathroom?
Yeah.
I hope they would announce it, right? That's even more embarrassing. What if you're a guest in someone's home and there's no toilet paper? Then what do you do?
Hey, what's even worse? One time I stopped up a toilet and it overflowed. That's horrible. That is maybe one of the most embarrassing moments in my life.
So maybe now it's going to be common courtesy that you should be putting in Alexa in the guest bathroom so that they can announce and ask you for toilet paper if they need to. Just a thought. Be courteous, people. Be courteous to your guests.
We need a toilet paper robot in the house that you could, just like a dash button in the bathroom. That would be like, you could just do it, and then the toilet paper robot would deliver. That'd be pretty great. Justin says, what happens if you have more than one possible location?
You need code names.
Yeah, you need. Well, if you're going to do the ice, if you're going to do the ice
spill in aisle 1, we have a spill in aisle 2, 3. Yeah,
but you could. I mean, if you're going to do the spill thing, you could say, "Hey, I spilled back here in the bathroom. Can you?" And she'll know. Like,
just use like the phonetic alphabet. Tanka Papa at location Delta, right? Like, need the TP wherever I'm at,
or maybe just a tone of some kind. Like you could do a
That's what I pictured when you said.
I'm not thinking about you making a tone. I was thinking about
high pitched hum. That's one thing.
Something. We were today. I was podcasting at work today, and the host.
We've really tanked this podcast.
No, totally, but it's good. It's a Wednesday. We can do this.
I took us off course.
I like it. We were podcasting today, and there was a live coaching session going on. And when we were getting close to the time, because you get into these kinds of things and you forget how long. Like we're already coming up on the hour, right? You kind of forget. You get into this and you kind of forget. So the host had like a Tibetan bell, and it's like a bowl, and you just dong. And so you couldn't see her, but she dong hit the bell. So maybe in the bathroom, like there's a bell, like a decorative bell that it says in case of ring when you need, please ring, and you would hold them, something like that. I don't know. There's lots of great options. We'd love actually to hear your options. So if you're watching the YouTube video, in the comments below.
There with the last woman viewers. Chachowski says, yeah, probably.
No, there were 0 to begin with. But if you're listening live, go into the comments right now, not the chat, but go into the comments. What would you do? Like, what would you say if you needed to announce you needed more toilet paper? Right. What would you say? We need some creative ways. Drop them in the chat or drop them in the comments below here on YouTube. We'd love to have you do that as well. Mike, you've been gaming a lot lately,
right?
Kind of getting back into it. You had said Streamlabs OBS mobile remote app has been a game changer for you.
Yeah. Okay. So first of all, I didn't know this existed. And the only reason I bring it up is because I guarantee there's someone in our listenership that is also streaming using Streamlabs OBS. And when I found it, I posted out. I'm part of this Facebook group called like the Dads Gaming. It's like a bunch of dads that do the same sort of thing. And about half of them hadn't even heard of it. And what this is essentially, so Streamlabs OBS is a modified version of OBS meant for streaming to Twitch and gaming. They have an app for the iPad and iPhone. And essentially what it is, it's almost like a touchscreen scene changer. So, right, like you have one scene where it's your game and you in the corner. Then maybe you have a be right back screen. Maybe you have another scene where you can show your browser. Well, before you either need to be in the application clicking around on my desktop, or you can use, a lot of people use these things called Stream Decks. It's a physical device you buy. It's a box with programmable buttons, and you would set it in front of you and you can hit your programmable buttons. This uses your iPad screen as a remote control for your stream. And the buttons are dynamic. So if I'm on a certain scene, it shows all the different aspects like your webcam, your game. You can turn those on and off. You can mute and unmute your mic just by tapping real quick. Jim, what this made me think of was, man, if there was a remote app like this for podcasting, and I know that some mixing boards do have, like the high-end mixing boards, you can use an iPad. But imagine if you had your little controls down here on an iPad. Your mute real quick. I'm going to sneeze and just tap you on your little screen. Controls, volume sliders, things like that. So first, it's just, if you use Streamlabs OBS, just know there is a mobile app there that you can use for remote, totally free. Because before people needed to pay a bunch of money for a stream deck, and it works really well. I told Kirshner about this. He's streaming actually right now on Twitch, and he's like, dude, this is awesome. He has a stream deck, but he was going to try this live on, and he was going to see how it worked for switching around, because he hadn't heard of it either. So just one little cool, it is a quick tip for you guys who are streaming.
Yeah. And if you want to catch that show, thinkcomputers.org is Ryan and Ben. No, what's his going to be on the show? What's his partner? Bob over there. Ryan and Bob. I got to remember that before Bob comes on. Sorry, Bob. It's easy. That's easy. The Bobs, right? I should just be able to remember that from Office Space. Oh, because I'm watching, because I have Sighthound up. I just saw that the porch light came on. And our porch light's really, really sensitive now. So it only comes on if you're right there.
There's someone there.
Came on. No, must be an animal or something that's out of sight. I couldn't see it. I've seen deer now, a little rabbit going across, some of those. Of course, I watched the Amazon guy fail. We bought one of those boxes that Paul Barron was talking about, right? One of those package boxes for the front where, they can deliver it and put it in the box.
Right.
So I installed it on Saturday, put screws in the bottom and screwed down to the deck. It's not going anywhere. It's not blowing off. You're not pulling it off. It's not going anywhere. And so the Amazon guy comes up. We have our first Amazon delivery this week. And I'm watching this from the video, the replay afterwards. And he comes up and he looks at the box and he sets it down by the door. I was like, God, what do I got to do? So I think it's going to take a little training. Paul has that listed on his site. I'll have a link in the show notes as well to that. It's kind of a step 2. So it's heavy duty plastic, kind of meant to be outside. It's got a lid on it. The intention is, right, put the lid off, put the box in, shut it down. It's hard to see it's tan. So it's kind of hard to see from the street. You don't know if there's a box up there or not. The camera, I have 2 cameras pointed right on it. So Mike, I finally $45, I think, for that box. So I kind of pulled the trigger. The kids were trying to figure out but it's just in the box. And we're like, yeah, but you can't see it. I know, but it's not locked. We're like, that's not the point. The point is you can't see if there's a box up there or not. It's always up there, right? They just could not get past the part. They're like, well, could you put a lock on it and give the guy a key? And I'm like, we're not going to lock it. It's not meant to be locked. It's meant to obscure the box. So you don't know. And they just couldn't get past it. So there was some designs that were made about a chute. You would put it in there and a chute would take it into the house and it would go through a one-way door. So I was like, guys, it's just to obscure the box. That's all it's there for. And now
Jim, it's not locked.
Where's the lock on it?
Yeah.
How do you lock it? Is there a universal key? We heard that too. Is there one of the kids? Is there don't they have a universal key thing? That I'm like, no, that's not. And it's out far enough where they put our packages. The Ring doorbell can't see them because it's right underneath it. Now I have another camera that points at. We call it the porch cam. Points right at it. So I can see it there when they deliver it. And of course we see them when they come up on the porch. And so that is actually, Mike, let me talk a little bit about, kind of an update on that. Cause some folks have been asking on the Ring side. So I did come to, and I posted both in the Discord group and in, the Facebook group, a picture of what I did with this Ring cam. And there's so I have a new floodlight and I have a stick-up cam, and then I got a solar panel on it. And somebody said, I think it was you and a few others.
Yeah.
Why didn't you just buy the flood cam? Right. Cause for $200, I think they're $250. I think you get them for
pricey. That's a hard
$210.
part.
Well, but I figured all those things I replaced. So stick-up cam, $99, $150 for the solar panel. So I'm at $150. And I only paid $30. So I'm at $180. Okay, but that's not that far away from the flood cam was on sale for $209 this week. I think it's $250 most of the time. So not that far away. John said this to me. You said it to me. Why didn't you just buy the floodlight cam? Okay, here's why. Because I did this in stages, right? At first, I was just going to do a stick-up cam. So when I was installing the stick-up cam, I broke the floodlight because it's plastic and it's in Nebraska. And it's been up there for 12 years.
So it was dust. I mean, it just turns.
It was somehow.
I have the same thing on the back of my house.
Somehow it was holding lights up, and all I did was I breathed on it, and the thing went like, it just broke. And I'm like, oh, okay. So note to self, don't put plastic components up on that thing, right? So I bought it. So I went on Amazon. I found this really nice floodlight LED for $30. So you're like, okay, I'll just order it. That way I got the stick up cam. Well, then I put the stick up cam up, and 2 weeks later it says, hey, you got to replace your battery. I'm like, oh, okay. There is no way, especially in middle winter, I want to be hauling the ladder out and going up and replacing the battery. So I bought the solar panel. Update to that. So I installed it a couple weeks ago. We haven't had sun in 4 days, and it's still at 98% today. Like,
oh, really?
Yeah.
So it's even when it's not sunny, it's still pulling.
It's getting
power.
Some. Now at night, it shuts off. Right. There's no power, and then the device on the app that says, hey, you should attach your solar panel. Well, no, it's there. And during the day when the sun is out, it says, hey, solar panel's attached. Right. But apparently I'm getting enough of something that it's keeping that 98%. It's been on there 10 days. I think I installed that last weekend. So nice job, Ring. Man, that solar panel is dynamite. So I'm not sure. I have a south facing exposure there. And like in the summer, I may just leave that thing on full time, right? Because it's like,
why not?
Check it,
And so the good part about this, though, is if you did want to upgrade to the floodlight cam, that stick up and the combo there of the stick up and the solar, you could put that anywhere. You could use it as a back porch cam, sidewall, whatever you want. If you ever did want to.
I did silicone it in, and I did a really nice install on that when I was putting it in, and it kind of that. I was like, well, I could here's my thought. If the floodlight cam price gets good, maybe under $200, maybe I find a slick deal on it, I'll probably pick it up and replace it. But it's my choice, at this point. And then I have a really nice LED floodlight that I could replace in the back, because in the motion sensor, all that other good stuff, it'd be great back there. It'd be perfect for back there. I could move the stick up cam back there and replace the Z-Moto cam that's doing it now, and that's doing a fine job, but stick up cam's better, right? It's just better. And so I could move some things around. I have new options. And now if I take it in the back, then I got to do something different, because the back does not have the same solar capabilities that the front does. Like the front was made for solar, back not so much. So I'd have to kind of think, like, where do I want to put the stick up cam? This is a ton of fun, by the way. I am loving this whole cam thing. Like, I'm going to have about 18 of these things here.
I knew you'd get addicted. It's a bad addiction. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's super great.
I've been trying to, I have my few remaining 720p cameras. It's been taking the most willpower I have to not upgrade those to at least 1080, if not more.
Yeah. I did, the subscriptions have all, like the 30-day free subscriptions have all come up. I renewed the Ring ones. So $30 a cam per year, which is great. So $3 a month or $30 a cam.
I missed the per year. Whoa. Okay.
Yeah. Per year, $60 for the cloud. You don't have to have it, I don't think, but it's just so freaking convenient at that price. Z-Moto has something similar again. So Z-Moto is in my garage, not as important that I have that on all the time, or at least I'm capturing it. And the Z-Moto devices actually have onboard memory. So they're writing it to the memory first. You can get them from there. Then they'll fill up. You'll get a notification. You got to delete the memory. It doesn't auto do it. This is the value of the cloud, right? It's always just going there. It's more convenient that way. So on Z-Moto, I'll probably just manage those manually. They're in spots that aren't as important. And so like the back door just doesn't get a lot of use. So as they become, I have apps open, so I'm kind of monitoring them. The front ones are the most important, and those are all Ring based, and they work great. So $30 or $60 a year, it's kind of the way to go. That just kicked in, and it's all going to the cloud. So Mike, I don't think I'm going to mess with it. I think I'm just going to kind of leave it as is for now until I get a really sweet deal.
Yeah, I was going to say springtime, summertime, or whenever they come out with like the Gen 2 of the floodlight, probably maybe the flash sale, the Gen 1s, get a good deal on it.
Yeah. Other Jim says the Wise Cam now let you turn off the IR and the night vision independently, which is kind of nice. It might help you shoot through glass recording. And I do, package cam is behind glass. I'd like to have the light on because it's a deterrent. Like the light, the actual, there's enough light where that's at.
Red?
Well, no, it always has there's a little red light that's in the top that when that's on, that kind of helps. If you turn that, now it's off right now, everything is off, and I can see, it's the middle of the night, there's no lights on, I can see my porch. So I don't need the infrared there. I only like that light on because it's a deterrent. Like you see it in the middle of the night, you see a light is on behind glass. Except when that light is on, it really, behind glass, it just ruins everything. So, so that's a good point. Yeah, it's got me, Jim. Jim, thanks for throwing that in the chat room. It's got me thinking a lot about other things, and so I threw in the Discord group this week, like, okay, I have a back door here that we lock to the garage. So if somebody compromised the garage, back door's locked. You're not getting in.
Right.
But do I need a smart door lock on that thing? Because how handy would it be to be able to open that one? Now, I installed that one. I didn't do a very good job in it. So the deadbolt, you got to kind of push the door in and push the deadbolt. You can't with automation. That thing's got to be slick, right? You and
I are in the same exact boat, because I want to put one on my back door to my back patio, but it's the same thing. It's just barely not, like, the height's off. So you kind of actually have to lift up a little bit and then turn for it to be. And
I imagine if I put a little grinder in there and kind of just ease that out, or took my Dremel or it's not Dremel. Yeah, I do have a Dremel. If I took the Dremel and then just kind of edged that part and did it until it closed. What I like about it is when I do push it in, the seals, since it's a garage door, it's cold out there. It really seals. So that kind of holds it in. And I mean, that seals the door really well when I do that, but it would keep me from putting a door lock from putting an automated door lock. It's got a deadbolt on it today. So that got me kind of thinking about door locks. We have a Schlage. Is that the right pronunciation? Schlage?
I think so. That's how I've always said it.
We have a Schlage on the back that is dumb, but it has the keypad, so you can.
That's what I need. That's all I need. Or when I'm mowing, I need to be in the backyard and go inside and grab like a cup of water or something.
Yeah, and they're all keyed because we have Schlage locks all around. They're all keyed the same, so it's one key, and I've just one key does all the doors. So it's like, okay, do I want to, if I go with an August or if I go with one of these other, I'm gonna have to figure out the key situation with it. And do I want to go keyless in some of these? Like when you're walking in the back door, this is the door, everybody has a front door that they don't use. Everybody has a back door somewhere that they use all the time, right? That's our door we use all the time, coming through the garage. Do I really want to be fumbling with an app? I've got stuff in my hands.
Yeah.
And then you're thinking, well, put an Alexa, put an Amazon device out there. Sorry. And then you're like, well, no, you don't want people shouting. If they know that, they could shout things, through your garage.
And usually it won't let you it'll let you unlock, and then you have to use a voice.
Do you?
Pin. Use a pin.
Oh.
Yeah. It's like Simply Safe, right? Okay. I can tell her to arm it. I cannot. They don't even allow it with a pin. I cannot disarm it with Alexa.
Okay. Well, that's good.
Now she's lighting up over here.
Yeah. The other thing I've been saying, Lady A, a lot is I'm leaving. That's all you say, and she says, "I'm guarding." Have a good trip. I'm guarding, and then it's listening for glass breaking.
Wait,
did you know that? Yeah.
No,
yeah.
No, this was a thing.
Yeah. So go into your Amazon app and enable that as a skill. It's a native skill for Amazon.
Okay.
And when you're just leaving, just say to Lady A, "Hey, I'm leaving." Here, we'll just Alexa, I'm leaving.
Goodbye. I'll start guarding now.
So she's guarding. You can see it right now. In guard mode on these devices, listening for breaking glass and fire alarms. Right. As soon as I set that to guard mode, got a notification on my watch. Sarah's probably like, "What is he doing down there? Like, is he setting this at night before bed?" You could. It's not motion. It's just listening for sounds, right? It's listening for breaking glass and fire, which wouldn't be a bad thing to have on anyways. It may be a good thing to put on at night. You can see it circling if you're watching the video. You can see because you can tell. Okay, it's in guard mode. And then I'm setting off everybody's Alexa, but I'm going to say it anyways. Alexa, I'm home. And then
Got it. I'll stop guarding now.
Oh, I had no idea that was a thing. That's cool.
Yeah. So pretty cool. You have to enable it.
Yeah.
And put it in. It's kind of like the tricks about announcing, right? And so that's been another, kind of based on the burglaring we had earlier or late last month. Just been thinking more about those safety features and home automation and, where do I put when and where do I put door sensors on, some of those kinds of things. We had a door sensor on the back door for a while that would beep beep when it opens up and those kinds of things. I found that pretty annoying after a while. That was homey.
We have Simply Safe, and I turned all those beeps off.
Yeah. So So a little update on some of the home automation stuff. I figured this would be a good week to kind of talk about it, since we have guests for the next couple weeks coming up. But then one last thing, Mike, it's Super Bowl weekend coming up. Maybe you're listening to this and it's already happening or it's already gone, but there's been a new, and I've never heard of these guys before, but man, they're all over the place right now, called Fubo, FUBO.TV. And they seem to kind of be a YouTube competitor at this point, as far as offering all the major networks, a bunch of sports that's in there. $54.99 a month.
Network, which is hard to find on all the other streaming sites. Yeah.
Yeah. So 85 plus channels for $55 a month. Fubo.TV. Like, I found them through, I was trying to come up with segments tonight of cool technology on the Super Bowl. I didn't find stuff, but CBS was using, like, they were saying, how do you watch the Super Bowl? Well, you can watch it on Fox, which is pretty interesting. This was at CBS.com. You can watch it on Fox, or you can stream it on this Fubo. I'm assuming that's how they pronounce it. Anybody in the chat room, have you guys tried Fubo? Just kind of interested if that's kind of came out of nowhere.
Do they have a free trial?
They do, 7-day free trial. So if you're listening to it the weekend before the Super Bowl and you want to stream it 2 devices at a time, if you want to stream it to a third or more device, you have to buy their family plan to get that done. I think it's $5 more a month to have the family plan. So you're at $60 for that. Again, your YouTube TV prices.
Yeah, you are.
And you're streaming all. Say that again.
Have DVR?
It does have DVR. Yeah, they do have a DVR feature. Let's see if do I still have Fubo? Why did I close that? That was the dumbest thing ever. Let's just open it back up. If you go to Fubo and you scroll down, they are definitely making a gigantic sports play right now. There we go. In other words, they're counting on the Super Bowl for this, but in their FAQ, can I record games and shows? Yes. Every Fubo TV account includes 30 hours of cloud DVR space at no extra charge.
Well, that's not a lot.
You don't think so?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
I'm just thinking of all the things that build up, like hour shows. And I just maybe I just got used to, I just record everything.
YouTube
much.
Unlimited? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You can hit record from one device, start watching on another, and finish on a third, if you want to do it that way.
Even just use the trial, even if you are like, I might even try it as a YouTube person.
Cancel at any time. You can watch it on just about anything. iPhone, your computer, iPhone, iPad, Android, tablet, Roku, Apple TV, Chromecast, Amazon Fire TV. So I don't know where these guys came from. Like, all of a sudden,
out of nowhere. Okay.
And they got the Super Bowl. Yep. Well, they didn't get Super Bowl. They have Fox, right? And if you have Fox, everybody has Super Bowl. All right, Mike, anything else?
No, I'm excited to go in and start Googling after this show all the things they suggested for Windows.
Yeah. Keep you busy over the weekend. Don't forget the show notes.
Yeah. Oh yeah, exactly.
Couple reminders as we kind of wrap it up. If we won't have a long post show. By the way, if you're listening, last week, Dwayne went into a big deal on VR, and We posted that to the Patreon account. It's free. I used to have to be a Patreon subscriber to get that. You can now get that for free. If you head out to theaverageguy.tv/Patreon, we took that VR conversation. I know you're used to that being a crypto conversation, which, by the way, crypto is doing pretty well this week.
Yeah, it is.
I know. And it's available out there on Patreon, both the video and audio if you want to do it. Theaverageguy.tv/Patreon. Don't feel any pressure out there. Just go out and watch it. Dwayne does a really nice job, and we have a really good conversation around VR. So if you haven't done that yet, check it out. Theaverageguy.tv/Patreon. We are live every Thursday, 8 p.m. Central. If you haven't joined us for a live show, kind of plan on it. It would be fun to have you. Maybe it's something you can do out in the new year is come out and join us live. I think it's the best way kind of to enjoy it and the way to get it done. Join us in our groups, Facebook or Discord. It's just theaverageguy.tv/whatever we're doing there. Send me an email if you want, Jim@theaverageguy.tv. Always love to hear from you if you got something you want to share along those lines. Subscribe, rate, and review where you're at if you feel like it. I don't care if you do or you don't, but it's always fun to have you do that as well, especially on YouTube. YouTube subscribes do help, and actually YouTube comments help too. I do moderate those, so I know some people are leery of YouTube comments because it's such a say it for me, Mike. YouTube comments
Fire out there.
Yeah, they're such a dumpster fire, but I moderate them. So if you're worried about that, don't worry. I moderate them. Drop some comments in YouTube. That helps us, especially on the non-live channel, the one where we post the recorded, kind of the edited one out there. So subscribe out there and get that done. Don't forget both web and media hosting powered by Maple Grove Partners. Get secure, reliable, high-speed hosting from people that you know and you trust. And, of course, that's Christian. And so get more information. Plans start as little as $10 a month. A great way to host. The dude really takes care of you. So head out there, maplegrovepartners.com. Download the app, homegadgetgeeks.com. We'll get you there as well. And we are live every Thursday, 8 p.m. Well, not every, sometimes Wednesdays now. Every Thursday, 8 p.m. Central. I get a calendar set up. I'm going to lie to you. That's not true. I'm never going to set a calendar up.
I was going to say, don't say it.
It's this monitor is still shaking and freaking me out. We are live most Thursdays, 8 p.m. Central, 9 Eastern, out here at theaverageguy.tv/live. If you're listening in the live show, stay around for a smidge of post-show while I freak out even more about this monitor shaking. With that, we'll say goodnight, everybody. Seriously, man, this monitor is freaking me out.
Just glitching out or what?
So, when I'm looking at you, I see it moving, and then as soon as I look at it, it stops.
Moving, or the screen?
No, the whole screen is moving.
Oh, weird.
Okay, so then, but I look at it and it stops, and so I'm like, okay, and then I look at you. It's possible. What was in this beer?
You're kidding. I'm freaking out, man. You are freaking out, man.
I keep. Oh, there it goes. Okay.
Okay. Ring in.
I don't know. Why would it be doing?
Smoking the reefer. Super Troopers. Such a good movie.
John sent me a note today. He was like, "Hey, what's going on with crypto?" I was kind of like, so we're at 92. I saw it as high as 94 today.
Mm-hmm.
And it's carrying a lot of stuff along with it too. Like some of the alts have moved kind of on it. And so we were like, well, maybe it's the Trump bump, right? Maybe with the impeachment, there's a little bit of fear and people are moving things out of the market because the market has responded. Not actually, it hasn't gone back that much less. I mean, it's pretty small, but it has gone back since the impeachment trial started last Tuesday. Thought maybe it was a Trump bump. And then he was like, maybe it's the coronavirus. Like maybe people are, maybe it's causing some folks to say, well, maybe the world markets will go into chaos.
Whatever it is, I appreciate it.
Well, it hasn't moved. I mean, we still haven't seen 10,000, right? It's that there's that 92, 93, 94 where it's just kind of hanging tight and can't seem to break that ceiling no matter what. It goes back into the 8. I haven't seen it in 7 in a while. It's really been kind of sticking between 8 and 9. Alts continue to just kind of bounce around a little bit. Not a lot of movement on that one, but so Tony makes a good point. So this coronavirus, right? That I think there's been less than 1,000 sick, and I think we're at 100 so that have died. And Tony goes, is they don't mention the 8,000 who've died from the flu in the United States so far this year.
Isn't
Like
that
yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. The flu wipes out quite a few. I mean, those aren't healthy people in most cases, right?
Yeah, I mean,
This
Hannah and I
is-
both had influenza B, and
Yeah.
that was
Yeah.
that was a kill.
Did you get a flu shot?
Yes,
Okay.
and still got.
Yeah,
But I think
it happens.
there's something about the flu shot is more tailored toward influenza A, influenza B. I'll let Tony tell us about that. But yeah, I think the flu shot's more tailored towards influenza A, if I'm getting that right.
Yeah. Well, so, Google how many people are killed in traffic accidents in the United States every day. Like, it's a pretty good size number right now. Okay. That being said, could this thing be a pandemic? Yeah, it could be. It could be a solid pandemic. Like, I mean, I'm kind of hoping for the zombie apocalypse out of this thing. Like, listen, we've been practicing for a 2-headshot, target practice for the last 5, 10, 6, 7. I mean, come on, Uyghur. You're ready to take on the zombies, right?
Yeah, if I can use my mouse and keyboard. No.
Yeah, hold on. Wait a second. I gotta set up my. I got it. Where's my controller?
Oh yeah.
If you could just get a weapon.
Actual practicing.
If you could just get a weapon to come up off of your back that was controlled with the controller, maybe a little eye thing would pop up. Hold on.
Super accurate shot in real life. On a computer game, I am horrible. So I would much rather be real life weapons than computer game weapons.
Oh, so this is good. So Tony says the CDC estimates that so far this season, and there's been at least 15 million flu illnesses, 140,000 hospitalizations, and 8,200 deaths from the flu. The shot, it helps to reduce serious illness and death, not so much prevent the flu. I think this is where we get right. We get a little bit. We have a grandchild due here in the next 30 days. The hospitals here in Omaha.
I came up fast.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? The hospitals are cranking down here in Omaha to say, look, you can't come in the hospital, and especially in the maternity wards. Do they call them that anymore?
Yeah, the maternity wing. Yeah, you just a wing.
I'm sure there's a new politically correct word that I'm not using, but it is. They're like, you can't. They're checking if you've had a flu shot. If you haven't, you can't come in.
Wow.
And because we had a baby die recently in the hospital that got the flu from somebody who came in with it. And they were like, and again, doesn't prevent it, but they're not taking any chances at this point. And they're like, okay, first couple days, if you don't have a flu shot, you're not we're not doing this.
I've noticed that, there's always the culture at work of like, oh, like sick people are faking sick and all this stuff. If you're sick, stay home. Like my boss is really good about that. Like you're sick, stay home.
Yeah.
Especially because it's so easy to work remotely now. Even if you're like, I think I'm really like, I don't want to pass this along. Like just work from home that day. Don't be passing that around. Because we at our work, it's kind of like the keep coming in, and it got passed around. Bronchitis went around our office. I don't know who I don't know who Hannah and I got influenza from, but I mean, it was just a lot of junk went around. Stay home, people.
Justin says, screw the zombie apocalypse. The after apocalypse is already upon us. It's kind of true. That's to keep it a family show, we'll keep it there. But so I think this could be the beginning of the zombie apocalypse. So I'm a big believer that the zombie apocalypse won't be the traditional dead people coming up. It will be living people. I'm more of a World War Z guy on that they're living people who turn in like something more mutates. That's not really how mutations work, but usually you don't have mutations that go the other way. It needs to be a successful mutation. Not very successful, but that being said, I'm a big believer when the zombie apocalypse does come, it will come from the living, and it's 2 shots, right? That The Walking Dead taught us that, right? Isn't that right? 2 shots. 2 headshots.
I don't know.
I think it is. Chat room. Is it 2 headshots?
I have never gotten into like the zombie movies or anything like that. I haven't watched too many of them.
I'm not, to be honest. I haven't either. I don't know everything. I know from Instagram. That's it, or what my kids have said in family chat.
You know how sadly that's true for a lot of people, and they're serious. Most everything they learn from Instagram.
Joe, I'll have to wait for this to come up in it takes the API a second to move up here. So Joe says, thanks guys. I'm going to go eat a vitamin C packet.
No problem. That's what we're here for.
Oh, Sarah's really sick right now. I maybe I should take the rest of the week off. Or no, I'm sorry. Work from home.
Yeah.
Work from home. We have a little saying that I say. There's a couple. We have a group. We're the WFW group, the Working from Work group, and so it's not this. Okay, so it's not the sicknesses and stuff, but it's the snow. Like it used to be like 6 inches or more. You know, it's coming late. A foot would close things. That was that used to be Nebraska. Like 6 inches. Okay, we'll start at 10. Give some time to clear the roads. A foot would cancel stuff. Now school gets canceled if there's a threat of,
just gonna say, the threat of snow.
2 or 3 inches. Oh, it's going to be slick. It's always slick. Have you been out there? And so I think sometimes, and then local schools have kind of gotten hooked on this school closing crack, and they're like, we still have some days that may not get used. So like, even if it's close, it's going to be an inch. Okay, we're closing school. Yep. And, you know, and it throws, like when OPS closes, it throws work into chaos.
It's like, Jeff, find something to do with your kids, especially if they're younger. I mean,
right on. Daycare closes. You know, a lot of daycares have policies that they're like, okay, if OPS closes, that we can't be there. They're already, you know. So, so it just causes things. It puts things in chaos. So, snow days. We had the last time we had 3 or 4 inches. That was probably the most we got. Right, school closed. I always go in, and so there was my WFW crew. They were like, "Hey, working from work today." So we always joke like, "Hey, if you need me, I'm actually just going to be in my office today. If you can stop on in, because you know you get those. If you need me, I'll be available. You know, on the phone. You can call me on my cell phone or whatever. I'll be there all day." And you're like, whatever. I'm super skeptical of that, but maybe it's just because I'm an old crony, you know.
That's why. Yeah,
Tony says it's snowing in Nebraska. Okay, better cancel school in South Carolina.
Yes, there you go.
Just a threat. Justin says rub some dirt on and get back to work. I just think, okay, as great as it is to work from home, the best work gets done in person. Listen, I'm not disagreeing. When you're sick, stay home. That's great policy. I love that. When it's really, really dangerous, yeah. Okay, I get that. But just some of the best work gets done in person. Does. It just does. And so, I make, I'm a bad manager sometimes. On those snow days, I make every meeting is mandatory video. So it's like, oh yeah, no. Well, I didn't put makeup on. Yeah, I don't care. You know, my hair is kind of messy. Yeah, it's okay. Mine is too. Hold on. Okay, mine's messy too. Get on the video. Like, I want to see it. Again, that's another productivity. I just think meetings, virtual meetings are way more productive when everybody can see everybody. It's just a different. If we were doing this podcast and it wasn't video, I would be screwing off for sure while you were talking. And then you'd be like, I remember the old days of Home Service Show, and we used to do that. And we didn't have video to keep us accountable. And I'd be looking at websites and stuff. Somebody get me going down, John Zadler, get me going down a rabbit trail. And and then Dave, I'd hear in my earbuds, I'd hear, that's what I'd be hearing. Because I wasn't paying attention. And then I'd hear Jim. Oh crap. What was he saying? Yeah. What was he saying? And there a couple times, like I'd say things and it had already been said. And they'd be nice to me, but later on they'd be like, yeah, you kind of weren't listening, were you?
No.
You caught me. So I think it's just better to have video.
Yeah.
Get on video. Oh, I can't. Well, then isn't it a work day? Like, shouldn't you be ready? God, that just makes me sound 900 years old. Like, get off my lawn.
You're right. You gotta make your people do what you want to do, what you want them to do.
Yeah, well, the problem is that some of these I don't manage, but I make them do it anyways. I'm like, nope, get on. Hey, could you turn your video on? I'm to the point now where even like on regular days when we jump on, I turn my video on. I'm like, hey, I'd kind of like to see you. Would that be okay? Could you just turn your camera on? Vendors, people outside the company, like,
really?
Yeah. Hey, can you? I had somebody call me. I had a meeting Monday morning, first thing, 9:00. Partner, not even just a customer. And so I got the video going, and she called in on her phone, on her cell phone. And I'm like, you near a computer? And she was like, well, yeah. I'm like, can you actually just follow the link in and do video? Like, you want to see me? Yeah, of course I want to see you. Like, that's why I sent you a video link. Like, could you? Well, I guess I could. Yeah, no, I really want to see you. Could you, she hung up, came in on video. And I was like, yeah. It's like, yeah, I kind of want to see you. I think this is important that we see each other in the process.
Yeah.
So I guess I'm a little stickler on that. So that's the weird thing about me. But I like to see you. I'm so used to this, Mike. Like, I can see you when you're actively disengaged in the conversation. I can see when you're like at the end of the night when you're kind of fading off on me, or in the early days when you just kept pouring.
You can start to see when the eyes start to just get a little glossy.
Wow. Okay, now would be a good time to start an argument with Mike Uyghur. We should have the challenge. We should go find that video.
No. Let's not bring that back.
So great. Can you find that video? One, wouldn't mention what or what were you talking about? Because I wonder who would remember.
It was a post.
It was a post show. Live audience for the folks that are out there. I know there's.
So it has to be something in Patreon. Supporter.
Well, it's still on the live channel.
Oh, that's true.
Anybody remember this? Anybody remember this conversation that Mike and I are alluding to? We haven't really even talked about what it is, but
back in our crypto days.
Yeah, it was a crypto conversation. It was good. It was really good. That was super fun.
A lot of whiskey. The whiskey was doing the talking.
Okay, now the monitor is flickering in and out like it's going. I think so. The deal is, I think my connection.
It's really.
No, because when I hit the desk,
I go back and forth. It's hilarious.
When I hit the desk, it flickers. I think the connection's loose.
Okay, yeah, that's probably it.
Yeah.
Yep.
So. Well, what do you think of the Wednesday experiment?
Yeah, I don't mind it. Either day works for me.
Here, I learned something new. Speaking of StreamYard, we weren't speaking of it, but I'll talk about it anyways. You can now. I think it's always been this way. We used to record these, and then I'd wait for them to render on YouTube.
Right.
And they're compressed, and then I'd download them from YouTube, mix them up, re-upload them. StreamYard for 7 days keeps them in their full form, so it's still 720. Still 720 video, but no compression on the audio.
Oh. And
so it's a little bit bigger of a file, twice as big, but I don't care. And so, So when we're done tonight, I don't know if I have to wait.
Just download it.
I think just download it and go.
Yeah.
I'll give it a few minutes to render. But so that's kind of cool that now we have a local. So I used to have to wait an hour for it to, what I do is we'd finish and then I would open up, move over to the channel, kind of set up the studio so I could see when it was done rendering on YouTube. And then I would go maybe start the notes, or most of the time I just watch goofy videos on. So like the live YouTube channel, the history for me, it's super goofy. Because I don't want to like watch serious things. I just want to watch goofy things. So that one's all goofy. But now I think I can just grab it right from StreamYard, download it, and get rolling on the production of it. So Justin said, "Oh, it just went off again." Stick a vibration motor on your camera mic and just turn it on and off randomly and see if it drives Jim nuts.
Jim like motion sickness right here.
Yeah, what's going on? But you can't do it all. You can't. You can't do it all the time. You have to like do it randomly. Like when I'm looking away, then shake it, and when I look back, like what's going on?
Yep.
Everything's shaking. Well, I hope if you're listening live, I hope you got some good plans to watch the Super Bowl this weekend. If you're in Australia, that's kind of weird. I don't know why you'd want to watch our Super Bowl, but if you do, it'll have to be super early on Monday, I think, right? Or maybe it's middle of the afternoon. It'll be middle of the afternoon on Monday for you. So if you want to watch Sunday's Super Bowl, Justin, if you're going to watch the Super Bowl Monday afternoon, that would be weird. I did that when I was in Germany. You'd have to stay up. When I lived in Germany, you have to stay up really, like 3 in the morning, 3, 4 in the morning. That's weird. It's doing some really weird things. Hopefully you found a good spot to watch the Super Bowl, and we will see you guys. Justin says no. We will see you guys next Thursday.
I think you said you're off next Thursday.
No, that was going to be this week.
Oh, no, that's right. That was going to be
moved it to Wednesday. Let's see. Hold on. We'll see who we
go off for a little bit then.
Yeah, let's check the schedule really quick. Let's see who we have next week. I think we have Jay Madison next week. So all hardware. I think we are 100% hardware next week. So Mike, that'll be kind of fun based on your build. Because he's kind of a case build guy.
Yeah.
So he'll be back. Let's see. I'm pretty sure it's Jay. Dwayne, Jay, then Ryan and Bob.
Mm-hmm.
Come on. And then Joel from Life Door, and then Kevin Schoonover behind that. So we've got some. We've got things driving me nuts. See if it. Okay, so now it's perfect.
It's a loose connection.
Yeah, it is. It's totally a loose connection. So if you're listening live, we'll see you guys next week. Take care. Have a good week. Enjoy the Super Bowl. We'll see you guys.